Welcome to Goldboys Live, presented by Pickett Sports Sleeper Picks. We are here after a couple-day layoff. Finally, Game 3 of the NBA Finals. Feels like it was like a week between games with this layoff, but we got a best of 5 now, and we start pretty much with Game 1 tonight in Miami. Brian, Josh, I guess we'll just start with how we started the other day, which is, hey, if nobody listened, if nobody has a bet, what is your best bet that is on the board currently available? Brian, we'll start with you.
I will go with what I didn't want to talk about as much, but we talked about last game. But Michael Porter Jr. yesterday we talked about it. His PRA line was at 22.5. It's now bet down to 21.5, minus 120 to the over on FanDuel. And at 21.5, you almost just gotta bite your tongue. Hopefully he responds back, and that's such a low line for a guy that's been playing 35 minutes a game up until last game, where he struggled. But I think he's been better on the road, and at that line, he's just too involved in the game.
With it. I would just say, I love my Kevin Love bet. It's still at 5.5, but I got it at plus 114 for him to get 6 boards. And it's now at minus 120, 130, depending on where you find it. Not much value, but still just Kevin Love is getting numbers like this in 9 minutes of action. His one job is to rebound. His second job is to shoot the ball. And we talked about it a little bit yesterday. I know maybe some people are watching who didn't see that. So I would still hit K Love at what he's at. Eric Spoelstra came out and said, it was my bad entirely that he didn't play game 1, intimating maybe we'd be up 2-0 if I had played Kevin Love 20 minutes in game 1 as well. Just sort of making clear he agrees that Kevin Love is wildly important after his plus 18 in 22 minutes last game.
All right, so just to review, what are the bets? Love is over what for rebounds?
5.5 boards. I would
Brian, what's your bet? Over 21.5 points, rebounds, assists for Porter?
Yeah, I think that's just too low. I mean, he was 23.5 just last game, so 2 points is a big drop off.
I worry about Porter's minutes. I did play double plus
worry,
370. Yeah. I just worry if he's in the doghouse so much where it's they're going to teach him a lesson where they did bench him in the fourth quarter. I do think DraftKings has plus 370 for a double-double. Is that worth a shot? Is it worth pairing double-double in a Nuggets win, figuring, hey, he's correlated with the Nuggets? As he goes, the Nuggets go. If he plays well, the Nuggets win. Is that getting too cute, or is that worth a shot?
I think they're highly correlated. What does that boost get you to? Because if he's getting boards, it's also because the Heat are missing shots, right? And I continue to say what I said to Brian last game, which was don't get cute trying to bet Jokic boards. At least I wouldn't. I get your logic, and you are kind of fading what's been happening. But my thought process is what's not going to change is Bam Adebayo shooting from 8 feet plus consistently to keep Joker away from the basket, which is once again why Michael Porter Jr. would be, once again ripe for a bunch of boards between he and Gordon, who had 7 last game. Oh, wow. I don't think it's too cute at all, to answer your question.
It was plus 370 before, but now you put it in a same game parlay, and it's down to plus 270. Plus 390 Nuggets win, and Porter Jr. double-double. I don't love it. I liked plus 370 was worth a shot. I thought at the double-double.
What about 3 threes for him? What would you think of that instead? The Michael Porter Jr. one.
What is it?
I think
it was minus 120.
It's minus 110.
Is it down?
I think it was minus 113 on FanDuel earlier. Yeah, it's on FanDuel. I was gonna say the last thing I was gonna say too is if you think he's hitting some threes, the other Michael Porter Jr. is 14 rebound chances in a game.
Yeah,
he's getting there a lot. He's so involved. He's getting so involved.
I feel
rebound.
I feel like I want a plus price. I want a fat price because there's just so many tails here. There's so many highs and lows where he could get his minutes reduced and he only plays 23 minutes and he barely does anything. And then there's a shot where he, goes 18 and 12 and he has a double-double and he hits 3 or 4 threes and he has a monster game. So I don't want minus 110. I kind of want to juice my payout and just hope if he's boom or bust to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
But while we're talking about it, I'm also just thinking well, first of all, he gets 37 minutes a game on the road in the playoffs. So talk about doghouse. You don't play somebody you don't trust 37 minutes in road playoff games. Right. So I think there's a level of trust. He came out and I appreciated the stuff he was saying was he's there's no time for hurt feelings. People are telling me I played like crap. I need to come back as the finals. We don't have time to sit here and sulk. I'm going to come back and play. He said all the right things. I've never loved his attitude. I went to the University of Missouri. He screwed us in every way possible. Unfortunately got hurt. So I've had a bad taste in my mouth, but hearing that was oh, okay. this dude is showing some heart. Maybe the defense he was playing in game 1 is for real, and he'll come back in game 3 and do some bad,
Came back for the tournament that year, and they got run out of the building by Florida State.
1 for 11
absolutely
from 3.
destroyed. Yeah, he was
Don't
terrible.
remind me.
Absolutely terrible. We are at
I think.
Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was going to say, I think that's one of the reasons too. What Josh mentioned, he did say the right things. That's kind of where I'm in line with you, Will, where I like the double angle, or I like the angle of like PRA, like I was talking about, because threes are cool. Threes are high variance. It's one thing, but I almost think that even if he's not hot from 3, I don't think that's not why he got benched. It was just like a lot of the other stuff. Like, even if he's not hitting his threes, as long as he's present, he's actually hustling and he's, crashing the boards and doing everything else right, I think his minutes will be fine as long as he responds well to it. I think it's one of those things where if you do like a double or a mix of all stats and just hope that he's involved, that's one thing. But threes can be so ticky-tack at times, but I would love him to hit like 3 or 4 and then cash easily.
Where are you guys at with the spread? We're up to 3 in some spots, so Denver's taking some money. Total is ticked down to 214.5. I could certainly understand the under. Where are you guys at spread total? Josh, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, my first thought, I hit -2 when it opened because I thought this might happen. I was happy to get an extra point there for the Nuggies, but the total, it's like my first thought was go under, and then I keep picking over for these players, especially on the Heat. I also think Nikola to get 30 points is like awesome. I'm getting that at +105 on DraftKings right now for him to drop over 29.5. So I just keep looking at this going like, I like Michael Porter Jr. to have a bounce back game. I always love Bruce Brown and Nikola Jokic. And then I do like, Strus to get over like 10 points. And I like Vincent, like I was saying earlier. So like, I just keep kind of saying, I like a lot of role players to score. And then I think Joker's going to do his thing on offense. So like, I didn't touch the total as a result of that. I just kind of keep playing player props that indicate I like the over.
Would you say that Nuggets and over is correlated? It seems like Miami has a clear game plan here to slow the pace. That was a very slow pace in game 2. I think only 87 possessions. If you like Miami, go put that with the under at least for like a quarter unit where you parlay the two. And if you like Denver, put it with the over. Figure Denver wants to push the pace, get out and transition more, play faster. So it seems like Miami. Go ahead.
Well, one thing to add to this is like Kevin Love coming in actually speeds things up for Miami. Which is interesting because he gets the rebound and is always looking to throw as far of a pass as he can make. As we saw that one time, Bam was like, no, and then he still threw it, right? And they end up getting the
beautiful passes by, I mean, gorgeous
incredible pass. Kevin Aaron Rodgers Love, like he's incredible like that.
That's what they call him.
That's they've been calling that since UCLA. No, but he like if he's gonna be out there for 20 minutes, then I think they are looking to push a little bit when he's out there. But the thing that does lead to Miami going under is that Jimmy getting the ball and doing Jimmy stuff, which takes like at least 12 seconds off the clock for him to get to his shot. Like that also slows things down. So I don't know. I'm not, like I said, not going to touch the total, but I keep talking about props in a way that indicates I should.
That's fair. Yeah, I just put him on Twitter too today. I said Michael Porter Jr. props game 3, smash or pass. I put out a poll. We'll see what people think. But yeah, I do think it's to be a fun game. I think, as Will mentioned earlier, I mean, I was looking at earlier the pace of this of game 2. I think it was 89. I think 89 was like the pace ranking of that. This is a slow game. So if you think they're hitting the shots, then that's a fair total at like 214, 215. But man, that's not a lot of pace unless you're actually hitting like 50% of the shots, which is what Miami Heat have been doing. But how sustainable could that really be if you're talking about game 3 of the series now?
Who do you think wins tonight, Bri?
I think Miami takes one of them, but I think Josh said yesterday it might be game 4.
Who wins tonight? Come on, answer the question.
I'm just thinking because they're taking one of these. I'll go Miami tonight. How about that?
I have a feeling Miami wins.
I'll play that angle because I know they're going to take one of these 2 games, and maybe the first game at home. We always talk about role players shoot better at home. Maybe this is the game that they continue their 88% shooting from 3.
Yeah.
I could see a scenario where Miami wins tonight and it sets up basically a winner takes all game 4 where, I mean, it's overstating a little bit, but if it's 2-1 Miami and they go up 3-1, obviously Miami in great shape to win the series. And if it's 2-1 and then Denver can even it 2-2, Denver's back in control. I don't know. I think Denver's better. I wouldn't be shocked if Denver wins tonight, but I'm just absolutely finished betting against Miami. I'm done with it. I can't take it anymore. The 3-pointers, the everything, Butler. They just find so many ways to win. Just as a hedge of some of my Denver, I'm deep in Denver prices.
Yeah.
So that's just I took some plus 3, took some money line. If
You're so
if I
deep
had
in
to play it,
Denver
I would
prices.
take Miami. What's up?
You're so deep in Denver prices. You're starting to have stock in those microbreweries out there at this point.
Exactly. And it's just
Yeah.
a way of buying off. And I do
my
have.
question.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have that Game 7 prop too, where if Miami wins tonight, I can sort of hedge it. I can
Oh,
mill
yeah.
it here where I'm getting to a Game 7. So that's. But if I had nothing in pocket, I really don't know. Like, I really don't know. I don't have a great feeling for this. I've been saying Denver's better. Denver's a lot better. I have to be honest though, and I don't usually do this. Game 2 shook me when Denver's up 15.
Yeah.
Like if you would have told me, hey, at 15, a 15-point lead where Denver was down double digits, then they're up 15, the building's going crazy. This series is going to be 1-1 in an hour. I would have never believed it. I'm shook by it.
Yeah, no, that's it's the way it happened, like you said, right?
Yeah, I was going to pose it because I know Will already hinted at it earlier in this show. We talked about if you like Miami, you probably lead the under as well. We were kind of talking about a slower pace. Josh, I know you're big on Denver. What is your thoughts on this? Because I was talking to someone about yesterday. If you like Miami, like in this game per se, we always talk about how Miami's game plan is kind of slow things down, get in that final few minutes being close. Would you debate about maybe Will or Josh like doing a teaser where you get Miami to like 6.5 with the under, like thinking that
No,
you wouldn't
I don't tease them. No, there's just too many. It's too much variance. There's too much variance in the scores.
I was
You
only
think there's
asking
a
that.
possibility they get blown out, you're saying?
Yeah,
I'm saying,
I
do you
just feel
think
like points are cheap in the NBA?
Yeah, well, I was going to say, do you think it's more likely that it's close game down the finish or blowout? I was only going to ask that because I was looking at those FanDuel prices where you can, not tease it, but they have like the win, like the spread plus the total. And there's some good prices for some of these like alt lines, like Miami plus this with the alt under.
Yeah, I don't like teasing NBA. I just think that there's too much variance. Like NFL, I'm all about the teasers. Get me to 1.5 to 7.5. There's just so many key numbers. I just don't feel like there's the value there in the NBA. And I would say if it's a close game, I just trust Miami more to close these trust these. I can't talk right now. They're going to win the close game. If it's close, Miami's going to win. Whether it's the conditioning, whether it's whatever it is, the clutch factor, say whatever you want. They're going to win these close games more often than not. So if it's close, if you're banking on, hey, it's going to be a close game, I'll take the 6.5. I would just want Miami on the money line plus the points, whatever. I mean, I could see Denver winning by 10 or 12. Well, 10 or 12, and us being like, we got fooled by game 2. Denver's just much better. That's not a shocking outcome to me. Denver is the better team, but again, I'm just kind of shook. I'm sick of sitting here and saying, Milwaukee's better than Miami. Boston's better than Miami. This team's better. Like, better doesn't seem to matter. Better doesn't seem to matter. Yeah.
There's something there, but I don't think the Heat get blown out. I just don't see that world, because even if they get down double digits in the third quarter, let's say, or even like you have to be beating them by 20 to 25 going into the fourth for me to go, all right, this one's over. They just grind it out. So with that in mind, like you can get some kind of like either team to win between 1 to 10 points kind of stuff on DraftKings. Both those kind of odds are at about plus 750, plus 850 in terms of like Denver to win by 1 to 10 points or Miami to win by 1 to 10 points, right? And obviously you can just hit the Miami money line at that point or whatever, and you're still getting plus 125. But just a couple of ways to look at, because I don't think it does turn into a blowout. I do think both these teams have shown that like no lead is really safe both ways, whether they're holding it or they're trying to come back. So this game, I'm starting to really also think I hit Denver -2 just to cover myself right as it happened, because of the fact that I thought it was going to get up to 3, and I just thought there was some value there in a close game that I think it'll be. But for Miami to like come out and continue its hot shooting and then maybe have a less stellar game in game 4, that does seem like the sort of way that this would go, is like they're coming off a hot shooting. It's game 1 at home with the crowd behind you going bananas, right? From the jump, role players at home, that kind of thing. This could be that game versus game 4 more so.
Yeah, that's why I don't want the teaser. That's why I don't want either team win by 1 or 2 points. The shooting variance. If Miami goes 6 of 32, could they lose by 15? Of course. If they go 18 of 32 and pull another game out of their ass, they're going to win. So it's like we could sit here and talk for hours until we're blue in the face about adjustments, matchups, props. It's like sometimes the 3 goes in, sometimes it doesn't. And to sit here and try and guess which night they're going to go 6 of 32 and which night they're going to go 16 of 32, I don't know, man. It's just really hard. They looked great shooting against the Celtics. Then they had some awful shooting nights. Then they shot it well again. I have no idea.
Yeah. I think one thing to add to that is like there are things Michael Malone can do to limit the Heat's threes better than he has been. I think you just tell your guys like, don't double down. Don't sag off the 3-point line. Do not worry about it. Don't have any inclination to like
Pope cheated
go
off a
over
few
it.
times too. Pope cheated off for no reason to go try and
Yeah.
get Butler and left guys
Pope
open.
cheated off
Pope,
Jimmy
Pope
at
played a
like,
bad game.
why are you going over to Jimmy Butler to double team him on an 18-foot mid range? Why are you doing that? Just let him have it. It's butter a lot, but like that's way better than Gabe Vincent and Max Strus having those wide open threes. Look, I'm hitting those guys to hit threes, so I hope they leave them open. But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
No,
I agree. The only reason I brought it up because I was playing the WillHill role, looking at different markets and just saying that the FanDuel market that does have Miami at +2 and the under is like plus 350. So under 215, Miami +2. So that's the only reason I was asking, is because plus 350 is kind of a interesting price if you were betting one way for like the variance to go one way or the other.
Yeah.
Yep, totally agree. What do you guys think Jokic stat line looks like? Is this a big points night? Is this a big assist night? Is this somewhere in between? Any bets on Jokic? What do you think we see here with Jokic?
Well, I was going to take the rebound until Josh told me not to. No, I think it's one of those games where I'm going to go.
Stick to your guns, baby.
Give me a more balanced game. So yeah, for game one was mostly assist, especially early, and then it turned to scoring. I'm going to go. Give me like a 38, like 30 points. 8 assists, like something in the middle there.
What do we have for a triple double in first points? I think we saw 28.5 for his points, something like
I think
that.
we finally get plus odds for him to get a triple fucking double.
28.5 for his points here at DraftKings.
Give me 30, yeah.
I would go over too. I mean, I don't want to be sitting there with an under ticket, especially if they're gonna sag off him a little more. And let me see here for a triple
you can
double.
look to pass as much as he wants coming out. Maybe you like 5 assists in the first quarter, some crazy shit like that for him. Which he did in game one. But the points, if you're still getting plus money for him to get 30, like points for sure, and add that to stuff. Let me bring up and give everybody here a sec to look at the sleeper pick, because that is where I used Mr. I did not put Nicola in this one, but I like because I needed to get a guy from another team. But basically, for the sleeper pick here, just starting off, Jimmy Butler at half a point. Is a nice little sale that they give you there for him to get it's like 99% off of his points. So for him to get more than half a point in this game is a great way to just build a ticket. And then Kevin Love is my favorite bet of the night, 5.5 rebounds, adding that to it. Gabe Vincent, I also love at 13.5 points. I think I might leave that one off if I were you guys. Like, I just went for a pretty big ticket here, $20 to win $188 for all 4 of these things. But my top ones, obviously, add Jimmy Butler. K-Love's my favorite. And then if you want to add either of the other 2 I have here, Bruce Brown to make 1-3. I like that line. And then Gabe Vincent over 13.5 points, as I continue to follow him shooting the ball, the third most of anybody on this team. So I like those. A Joker at over 29.5 points is wonderful. Like I'm adding that as well to a couple bets that I'm making. So
yeah, I want to like highlight that, but also I want to give a shout out to someone who was like in the Twitter verse was saying that on the poll we put out, said that Michael Porter Jr. never passes because the option was smash or pass. He never passes, but he's still going to smash on his prop. I thought it was a really good comment. I think that was a good comment. I think that was good. I just wanted to shout that out because I want to make sure people know we listen to the guys sometimes. I mean, I don't listen to people on the show, but I listen to the people in the comments and in the chats.
Leading scorer for the game tonight. You definitely don't listen to me. Leading scorer for the game tonight.
What?
I'll ask you what the weather is, and you'll start talking about, like, I don't know, politics or something. Leading scorer for the game tonight. Jokic plus 120, Butler plus 225, Murray plus 240, Adebayo 12-1, Porter Jr. 28-1. Little rebound. Let's see, Vincent 35-1, Gordon 55-1, Max Strus 110-1 if he's shooting a bunch of threes. And then Pope 121, Love 300-1. Anything there worth like $10. Your eyes lit up when I said Love 300-1.
Jesus.
Steve, like, what's Love's ceiling? Like, as much as Love is, like, his ceiling is what, like 15 points?
I think Strus has the ceiling because he got the attempts. If he got 13 3-point attempts and made 8 of them, who knows?
He just stopped shooting after the first quarter.
Yeah, that was strange. But he still got 9 attempts? He's got 19 in 2 games. Yeah. And he does shoot a lot. He does shoot threes a lot better at home.
Yeah. And Strus is 110-1.
Yeah, that's not terrible, is it?
It's not
Kevin
terrible.
Malone says
can you go from
2001, you
the
always
top
have to take a chance.
Say that again?
I was just say Kevin Malone from The Office. He said that, right? 10,000 to 1 is always worth a bet. So that was a line from The Office. So
this isn't 10,000 to 1, but your point is well taken.
No, Nicola's still plus money. Like, I mean,
yeah, plus 120.
Yeah, I mean, that's that. I have him leading scorer in the series. He's comfortably at that now. But if anything, like Gabe Vincent, 35-1, and like he had 23 last game. They took him out at the end of the fourth and like didn't really bring him back in as much for some reason, which was painful. If he had 2 more points, a bunch of us on the Discord had him at 30-1 to get 25. What do you need to be the leading scorer? And like, I don't think Jimmy Butler is a good bet at all. I think between the two Denver guys, that's where you kind of lean, to be honest, in terms of the top 2. Like, I don't know how crazy you want to get, especially on the road. Like, yes, Michael Porter Jr. shots up and all that, but on the road, right, you go back to Jamal and Nicola and just 2-man game to death.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things too where you have to outweigh about if Jokic's line is 28.5 and his top score is plus 120. I guess you have to just like weigh the pros and cons, because top score is such a weird market. Because I've seen people take like Donovan Mitchell in a game, and then it was, I forget who it was, but some random player happened to score like 30 by accident. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like one of those things where you have to sit back and think, if Jokic gets 29, would he be comfortably be a top scorer, or is there somebody else that can score 30? And the only guys you can really think of are those high variance guys that are just going to take a lot of volume and hope the shots fall in. So
I will say one thing about Jamal is that he's scored under 20 in the playoffs 3 times. He came back with 29, 37, and 32 points.
Maybe I'll take some Jamal Murray, actually.
But Jamal plus 240 is sounding a lot smarter when I bring that stat up.
Yeah.
What's the best bet here in this market? Anything, if anything.
It's lame, but yeah. You
like Strus?
I'm gonna put $10 on it. I mean, at this point, once you talk about it, if something's 110-1 and you talk about it, then there's just the FOMO of not betting it.
Yeah.
K-Love's not gonna get the minutes to get there. Like, his ceiling is like 20 points if he shoots 100% from the field. So let's nix the 300-1 unless you have $1 that you just found under the couch, whatever. But Max Strus, like, if you put the $10 on it to win 1,000, or
just something fun. Great. Yeah, I can see that. I was actually just thinking about it too. I was building up some odds. Josh, I might join you with some Kevin Love action, because I might find a way to pair Michael Porter Jr. rebounds with Kevin Love. So I think maybe just the rebound angle for them might be.
I'm gonna feel terrible if Joker goes for like 16 boards. Though.
No, I will say this.
Absolve me of that, please.
No, I would not do that, because here's the thing. I wouldn't have brought it up on the show if it was. I would have already bet it twice. I was talking to Joe Delaire, like I said the other day. Same thing. He's a Jokic bet guy, and it's weird. All the numbers point to regression for Jokic, but he's just not been. I'm just saying, because like, he's a guy I talk to a lot, and it's the same thing where all the numbers and stats say Jokic has positive rebounds coming, but if you watch the games, he's just not been as aggressive, and he's been a little bit, out and about covering the edges. So I would rather not lose the minus 140 juice than to have the FOMO of not betting it.
How about most rebounds for the game? Jokic minus 190, Bam plus 275, Porter plus 850, Butler 11-1, Gordon 22-1, Love 35-1, Murray 40-1, Pope 181, Gabe Vincent 250-1. Anything jump out of that?
Gabe Vincent rebounds. Yes, you said what for Bam? Plus 240?
Plus 275.
I think that's the one to go. Honestly, if you guys remember, before the series, we each had to bet series price. I did take Bam, that when I said it on the show, to average 10 rebounds. So I just need him to avoid that one random 4 rebound game, but he has 13 and 9 the first 2 games. So I think that's probably the best one, because we talked about all this much about how Jokic is like can grab a million rebounds, but he hasn't been as aggressive. Paying minus 180 for that seems a little steep.
Do you find what do you feel about that Porter over there? Because
I was gonna say
double,
I was gonna say
well,
Porter or
I need a little more. I don't see a great bet here, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah, unless I don't even see Jimmy.
Yeah, which is okay.
K Love 35, baby.
I knew you were gonna say. I was gonna throw it out. Is Love 35-1 worth it? He probably doesn't get enough minutes, right?
He doesn't need minutes, but he's not gonna get enough.
Most rebounds per minute. Is that a market?
Right. Like, somebody's going to get 12 in this game. Somebody's going to get 10 or 12. I mean, unless you're like, oh, Jokic and Adebayo are going to get into a fight in the first 3 minutes, then it opens it up, something like crazy like that, and they get thrown out. I mean,
Adebayo's more clear-headed than that.
it's one of those markets too where like you want to find the value, but we talk about this about Jokic. Even a non-aggressive Jokic will find a way to get that 10 rebound or like that
Right.
triple double if he has to. Like if 10's the floor, it becomes a lot harder to back some of these bigger numbers.
How about most assists for the games tonight? And then we'll just do one or two more of these and get out of here. Jokic minus 245, Butler plus 380, Murray plus 425, Bam 35-1, Vincent 55-1, Gordon 140-1, Pope 180-1. I'll just stop reading because I don't want to tempt anybody. Anything jump out to anyone?
Is Porter like 1,000,000-1 for most
Porter,
assists?
yes.
Porter would have to pass the ball to get him, right? That's how that works.
Yes. So that's a fair one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Porter's
no, I mean,
Porter's not even listed.
Jamal did it last game.
He leads the series. He's got 10 and he's got 20. Jokic has 18. I mentioned yesterday, Bet Rivers has 8-1 on Murray to lead the series in assists. I think that's a good bet.
Yeah.
Plus 425 tonight. If you're thinking, hey, they're going to keep making Jokic a scorer for whatever that means, I don't know.
I mean, it's worth it just off the fact that like he's going to have the ball in his hands just as much as Joker if they're playing that 2-man game.
Yeah.
And when he's the focus, he's never like they're never off the floor at the same time. So when Joker does get off the floor for 5 minutes, Jamal's it's his world. So Bam is where it starts to get interesting at 35-1. That's the only one I might consider there. After that, his 3.5 assists should be also mentioned as like probably too low. As a guy that's going to continue to have the ball in his hands around the foul line and the high post. So, 425 for Jamal. We already talked about him like that. Like, why not a little sprinkle as sort of like a press on the idea that you get good juice for him to be the leading assist guy in the series too, right?
All right. Anything else on that before we move on? Most threes and then maybe something else, and we'll get out of here.
Nope.
Most threes. Murray 2-1. He's the short shot. Strus plus 330, and this is for the game tonight. So Murray 2-1. Strus plus 330. Porter Jr. plus 330. Vincent plus 370. A lot of short numbers here.
Caldwell Pope 12-1. Though that interests me. KCP and K
12-1. Love is 15-1. Jokic 16-1. Butler 22-1. Aaron Gordon 80-1.
No. K-Love, KCP are starting to interest me at plus 1,200 for KCP. Like I think I keep trying to find a guy who's going to come back from his last poor shooting performances, and dude's only put up like 6 threes, but like I can't like he's a trustworthy guy on the road too. He and MPJ, both guys like I'm looking at. Obviously, Gabe Vincent's true for the Heat if you're going that route.
So I was just pulling it up. Well, what was Murray 2-1, right?
Murray's 2-1.
Yeah, so you can find it. I was going to pick at sports. You can find 4+ threes for him at some books at like plus 145. So I guess it's almost like if you think it's going to be Murray, why risk the dead heat if you can just get 4+, right?
Right. I mean, you could have one of those nights where everyone on Miami goes cold and nobody makes more than 1 or 2 and you can win it. I know what you mean, though.
Well, I kind of look at these bets and then I also use them. I talked about this once, but I love going to the DraftKings head-to-head bets for like player versus player stuff.
Yeah.
Because you can really use other numbers to go. And I don't think they do a good job. No offense, DraftKings. I just don't think they do a good job of correlating like, okay, Nikola Jokic to make 1 3 is like minus 280. Yet him to versus this guy they don't correlate the odds correctly.
Yeah, well,
but like even just like threes made right now, like if you want Gabe Vincent to hit at least 2 more threes than Nikola in this game, plus 115. I don't know, like KCP versus Jimmy Butler. KCP to hit more than him is even money. And Jimmy Butler is just not a good 3-point shooter. He's going to put up like 2 or 3.
You sacrifice some of the juice, but you also eliminate every other variable. Because as a bettor, you want to control what you can control too. It's way easier to control. Hey, this guy versus this guy versus this guy, and it's like, oh my God, Highsmith's is like hot from 3, like some random uncontrollable things.
Right.
And then you kind of mentioned too, where that's a good way to look at it because we talked about on the show yesterday. DraftKings has so many markets that you can really find it because I kind of talked about yesterday with Tommy Henry against the Nationals.
How'd your Nationals do, by the way? You were talking shit when it was 4-1 Nationals. What was the final?
That chat went real quiet once the Nats got blown.
Whoa. I didn't bet them to win. I took their over 2.5 runs.
That's too bad.
That's all I needed.
Upsetting.
Yeah, that's all I needed. That's all I'm saying is that Henry's earned runs was minus 155 for 2.5, but the 2.5 first 5 was plus 130, whatever it was I said on the show yesterday. So it comes down to that where it's like, yeah, sure, he can allow some runs at the 6, but is it really an 80-cent difference between these two markets?
Last one, Finals MVP, Jokic minus 265. This is interesting. Butler plus 475, Bam only plus 550.
I meant to say that yesterday, man.
Yeah,
Like
go ahead. What do you?
if you think Miami's gonna win, they have a shot, Bam's the MVP right now, right?
He is, but man, there is such an appetite to just give it to the superstar. We saw it in the conference finals with Caleb Martin, Butler. We see it all the time in the Super Bowl where the quarterback gets it. I was thinking the other way. I would think Butler would get it. I think, but if Miami's going to win 3 more games, they're going to need Butler to play well too. So I don't know.
So yeah, here's the other thing: if it goes to 7, like we were saying, it might. If Butler goes out and like in a closeout game scores 35, he can almost do nothing in the first 5 or 6 games, but he'll win it just because of that. You know, you don't say
need good games. He just needs good stretches where Butler scored 8 points. Like the media, it's become such a narrative from the first round.
What's the odds for Duncan Robinson after his 10-point run?
He's not listed. Is Strus at 150 to 1 crazy if he shoots 1,000,000 threes here? That's probably crazy, right?
No, I think I think the reason Bam makes a case for himself, because I know what you're saying with the superstar, but like, one, I don't know if this matters. Jimmy said if we win the championship, it's because of Bam Adebayo. I don't know what that does for
That'll help Butler because he's being a leader. The media just loves
the real
Butler.
MVP. Yeah, he's pulling some.
It really depends because the media decides who they like and hate, and they like Butler, so he can say anything they want, and they'll spin it. Like they'll spin it in a way where like.
But they like Bam too, you know, and like I don't know. I think Bam is super important. This is one scenario where I'm like, Bam is at least superstar 1B and gets assists and doesn't just need to be set up. He sets other guys. So there's the possibility. But like, do you guys expect Jimmy? Because I'm still not really riding Jimmy to go over. Like I'm kind of fading that, right? So
I like Butler's under.
Butler's under in points. And that's one of the reasons that I'm like, I keep talking about these role players getting over on their props, but still don't have the balls to go over on the total, because I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna get from a Jimmy Butler. And Bam might score 20 again, but I don't think either of those dudes are getting 30. So yeah.
All right, who wins tonight? Josh, you got what? Denver?
I'm gonna stick with Denver. I know I keep talking because I bet on them and I thought the value was there, but I do think Miami wins one of the next 2.
Brian, what do you got? Miami?
I'll go Miami. I'll stick with that.
I'll be rooting for Denver, but I think Miami wins too. I got to feel Miami wins.
Hedge it a little bit.
It's also easier. It's also easier to watch it as a fun thing. You guys have a lot more at stake. It's you know what I mean. It's easier to speak freely when there's less on the line.
I think we got a shot at the 7th game here. I mean, it's probably going to go 6 unless somebody wins the next 3. It's at least going 6. And if it goes 6, it can go 7. We haven't had a lot of game 7s in the NBA Finals. I think Warriors Cavs in 2016 was the last one. Yep. Lakers Celtics a while ago. There was that great Heat Spurs one, but we got a bunch of them in baseball in a short period. We haven't gotten a lot of game 7s in the NBA. So hey, we're 1-1. We're kind of on pace here for a long series. So that'd be fun if we drag this out as much as possible and get a nice little finals here. So Josh, Brian, appreciate you guys. Pickett Sports, sleeper picks. Good luck with all your plays. We'll be back 1:00 Eastern tomorrow to break it all down and get ready for a game 4. So until then, good luck, and we will see you tomorrow.